An old man, Cameron, tries to rob a store but gets caught. The cops take his DNA sample to ID him and are shocked by what they find. Turns out he's been on the run from a murder case for years. They arrest him on the spot. The weird part? After getting nabbed, Cameron keeps repeating one thing. He wants a pen and paper. Meanwhile, two officers head to Cameron's house to search it. They find some creepy drawings scattered around. Then they spot a door, locked up tight with a heavy-duty lock. When they finally break it open, they're stunned by what's inside. Back at the station, Chief Detective and a mental health expert start questioning Cameron. During the interrogation, a suitcase comes up, the same one where a body was found. Cameron admits the suitcase is his. Detective jumps on it, asking, "Whose body was in that suitcase?" Instead of answering, Cameron starts rambling about a camera in the corner, supposedly linked to the central government's computer. He'd heard that computer was the most powerful one ever. His pointless chatter pisses off the detective. Then Cameron gets to the point. Back in 1994, he was obsessed with video games, playing them day and night. His company paid him good money to review games. One day he got the chance to work with Colin Rittman, a famous genius programmer from that era. Colin was working on a top-secret project with Tuckersoft at the time. At least that's what the Tuckersoft boss thought, that he was cooking up some killer game for their company. But the truth was the total opposite. Rittman hadn't made some ordinary game. He'd created a living, breathing world where the creatures inside were biologically real. They'd started multiplying and even developed their own language. Not only that, they could see Cameron and talk to him. Rittman had to disguise this program as a game to get the company to fund it. But he knew if they ever found out the truth, they'd never let it see the light of day. Most games are all about fighting and killing, but this one was different. When you start the program, an egg pops up and you've got to take care of it. Then it becomes 2, then 4, and their population just keeps growing. Rittman was explaining every little detail to Cameron, but he had an ulterior motive. He wanted Cameron to steal the game. He was convinced that once the company realized what it really was, they'd bury the project instead of releasing it. So Cameron swiped the game's CD. He started nurturing an egg, and out came a throng. He raised it like his own kid. In just a few days, their numbers doubled, and slowly their population grew. They all talked to Cameron, and he'd spend hours every day trying to understand them. In real life, he didn't have any friends. One day, Cameron met a guy named Lump, who saw how naive he was and pretended to be his friend to take advantage of him. That night, Cameron tried acid for the first time, and it sharpened his mind. Finally, he figured out what the throngs were trying to tell him. They wanted him to order some computer parts so they could see each other and talk. Amid all this, he completely forgot to write the preview for the Thronglets game. The next day, his article was supposed to be published, but his computer wasn't free to write it. So the following morning, he was about to head to the company when Lump showed up out of nowhere. Cameron hesitated to kick him out, so he kept saying, "I'm heading to the company. I'll be back soon." A little later, Lump wandered into the room where the Thronglets' computer was. He started smashing the Thronglets with a rock and burned some of them to death. Meanwhile, Cameron's boss got word that Tuckersoft wasn't releasing the Thronglets game. That meant he didn't need to write the preview anymore. When Cameron got home, Lump had already killed a bunch of throngs. Cameron lost it, and in a fit of rage, he killed Lump. Then he stuffed Lump's body in a bag and dumped it in a deserted spot. The police couldn't identify the body, and the case got buried back in 1994. He did all this to save the throngs, and over time, he kept upgrading the computer to match their growing strength. They started working together. One day, the throngs told Cameron they wanted to live with humans. To do that, they needed to understand the human mind to find a way to coexist. Slowly, they developed a neurological interface so they could connect directly with each other. For that, Cameron had to do a small surgery at home. Seeing his craziness, the chief detective started thinking this guy had completely lost it. They asked, "What was Lump's real name, and who were his parents?" Cameron replied, "Unless you give me a pen and paper, I'm not telling you who he was." He used to have a pen and paper, but they were taken away before he was thrown in jail. The detective had no choice but to hand him a pen and paper, which was their biggest mistake. Today, he deliberately stole something at a store and got caught so he'd be brought here. In truth, he was the throng's messenger, carrying a message. He wanted to write that message down and show it to them. In just a few minutes, he whipped up a code that was way beyond the doctor's understanding. Cameron said, "Hold on, just one sec, you'll get it." Then he turned the diagram toward the camera. The moment the central government's powerful computer scanned it, the throngs hacked right into it. That gave them insane processing power. Now they could send signals to every single citizen in the country, letting them fully control human minds. All of a sudden, the processing kicked off. The detective lunged at Cameron to stop it, but it was already too late. In a split second, the throngs had taken over millions of human minds. Mike and Amanda had been married for years. They loved each other like crazy. Amanda was a school teacher who poured her heart into teaching her students. Her smile and patience always inspired the kids. Mike, on the other hand, was a hard-working construction worker, sweating it out from dawn to dusk to make their dreams come true. Their little home was full of love and laughter, but there was one thing that quietly gnawed at them. They didn't have any kids. That emptiness never weakened their bond, but it left a void in their hearts. One day at the construction site, Mike heard something weird. John was checking out something on the office's old computer. Pointing at the screen, he said, "Check this out. It's an app called Dumb Dummies. People do all sorts of crazy stuff to make money. The audience sets a target, and if it's met, they pull off wild stunts." Right then, this American guy hit a $200 target and drank his own pee. Mike was stunned. Meanwhile, Amanda was teaching at school when she suddenly passed out and collapsed. They found out she had a brain hemorrhage. The doctors figured she might never wake up. Mike had only one option. A new startup called Rivermind had come up with a solution for cases like this. They'd back up the damaged brain tissue to their cloud first. Then through surgery, they'd remove the damaged tissue and replace it with synthetic receiver tissue made from the backup. It was controlled by Rivermind's system. That meant the patient could live a normal life as long as they stayed in range of Rivermind's signal. The operation was completely free, but the patient had to pay a $300 monthly subscription for the streaming. The surgery happened, and Amanda made a full recovery. It was nothing short of a miracle. Somehow 6 months passed, but paying that $300 subscription every month was a real struggle for them. One day, Mike and Amanda were out for a drive. As soon as they left the city's signal range, Amanda passed out in her seat. Mike freaked out, stopped the car, and thought she was dead. But back in signal range, she came to. They rushed to meet Gaynor, who said the company was upgrading its network. Rivermind's towers were spreading worldwide, so soon people could roam anywhere without issues. But they'd need to upgrade to Rivermind Plus, costing $800 a month. Mike and Amanda couldn't afford it. Helpless, they turned the car around and quietly headed home. But the trouble didn't stop there. Their $300 basic plan now had ads. At first, there weren't many, but soon they got so bad even the kids at school noticed. Amanda had no clue what she was saying during ads. Things got worse when her job was at risk because of it. Gaynor said the ads would stop only if they upgraded to Rivermind Plus. They were stuck. If Amanda lost her job, they couldn't even keep the basic plan. Out of desperation, Mike started a channel on Dumb Dummies. That morning, he saw some urine left in his glass and quickly cleaned it. The channel made money, and he upgraded to Rivermind Plus. The ads stopped, and Amanda's job was safe. Tonight's show had Mike set to put a mousetrap on his tongue if he hit $90, but the audience wanted it somewhere else. He went through hell for the cash. One night, things went too far. He broke his own tooth and swallowed it on the show. For a few months, this worked, but now even the Plus plan was standard. Patients lay in bed for hours, sluggish and lazy. Gaynor said to fix it, they'd need Rivermind Lux, with a $1,500 monthly fee. That plan let patients control their energy, feelings, and fun however they wanted, but it was way out of their budget. Then Gaynor suggested they get the Rivermind Lux booster pack. Tonight, a Dumb Dummies viewer offered $500 for Mike to take off his mask. He did it, but it was the biggest mistake of his life. The company's employees knew who he really was. Fighting wouldn't help now. They fired him. Mike kept it from Amanda since it was their anniversary. For the occasion, he got a 12-hour booster pack, and it was incredible. Amanda felt everything 10 times better, even joy. But the next morning, when the booster wore off, she crashed hard. Mike barely scraped together subscription money with his job and overtime. Losing his job meant they came up short this month. They begged Gaynor to cover this month's subscription. If ads started again, Amanda would lose her job, and her $300 income would be gone. But Gaynor was powerless, just a puppet for Rivermind. When Amanda lost her job, they were crushed. Slowly, they sold their stuff. Then came the day they couldn't afford even the basic subscription. Their lives took a turn where society shunned them. No job, no help from anyone. Amanda said, "Let me go, don't stop me." Mike let her, then ended his own life. And just like that, their beautiful love story ended.
Oh, thank God you're here.
These days, a girl named Natalie was all over the news. She jumped off a tall building a few days ago. But Maria and James didn't pay much attention to it. Somehow, though, the news was tied to them. They were crazy in love. James worked at Barney's, and Maria was at Dita Chocolate Company. Today was a big deal. Maria's new chocolate flavor was getting tested. They brought in some random folks, and Maria was stunned to see her old school friend, Verity Green, there. Her name wasn't on the list. Verity told them to double-check, and sure enough, it was there. Everyone tried the chocolate and shared their thoughts. Nobody really liked it, except Verity, who gave positive feedback. She said it tasted even better the second time. On her suggestion, the others tried again, and their opinions flipped instantly. Maria hadn't expected Verity to praise her product. Back in school, they never got along. Now, 10 years later, they were meeting again. Verity was in town for a job, but Maria secretly still held a grudge. She didn't want Verity getting hired here. Anyway, there were no openings at her company, but Verity had checked the website and came to town for a vacancy. Hours later, Maria checked the site, and there was a research assistant position open. If Verity got that job, what then? Maria started stressing. There was a big reason for it. Back in school, Verity was super smart. She kept to herself, always tinkering with something. She'd draw weird diagrams and talk about building supercomputers. She must have been pretty cool, James said, and Maria got irritated. It was clear she couldn't stand Verity. Back then, a rumor spread about her. Everyone said Verity got caught with Mr. Kendrick in the computer lab. It wasn't true, but Maria and the whole class spread garbage about her. A girl named Natalie went too far, calling Verity Milk Girl and teasing her until it stuck as her nickname. Why would a computer nerd want a job at a food company? That question was eating Maria up inside. Chances are Maria was behind the smear campaign. The next day, Verity aced her interview and got the research assistant job. Soon, everyone in the office liked her. The day after, the company's owner, Mr. Dita, was coming to the office after years. They had to plan his all-day vegan menu. Maria worked with Verity to get it done. Lately, someone kept sneaking almond milk from a girl in the office. She'd make a fuss every day, but the thief was still a mystery. Since Verity joined, people in the office followed her around. But if anyone got more attention than Maria, she'd burn with jealousy. It was wired into her since childhood. During a debate about food preferences, someone mentioned Bernie's chicken. Maria jumped in, insisting it was Barney's chicken. Nobody agreed. Stubborn as ever, she was sure she couldn't be wrong. Her boyfriend worked at Barney's after all. They searched online, and her ego got crushed. She became a laughingstock. How did Barney's spelling suddenly change? It used to have an A in Barney's. She was telling the truth, but nobody believed her, not even her boyfriend. She gave up, but Verity was bugging her more than ever. Everyone in the office was obsessed with her. When James said she could be famous too, Maria flipped out. "Why are you scared of those people?" he asked. The straight answer? Maria loved being the center of attention. She got a kick out of people sucking up to her. James's words hit a nerve, and she snapped. "You're the biggest kiss-up! You love licking boots and making others do it too." James didn't back down, teasing her even more. "That photo? It's the same group that trashed Verity's rep with no mercy." Verity was back for revenge, but how she was flipping things around was the big question. Maybe Natalie knew something. Maria texted her, but got no reply. Next morning, when Mr. Dita showed up at the office, everyone started brown-nosing. Then Maria screwed up big time. She accidentally served Dita a beef dish, even though she'd left beef off the menu. Seth pointed out that Verity's list had beef on it. This caused a huge scene. Maria doubled down, so they checked the email. Turns out she'd written beef on the list herself. Still, she refused to apologize. Finally, the boss made her say sorry, which was super humiliating for her. That evening, Maria got a text from Natalie's phone. But it wasn't Natalie, it was her husband. He said they were late replying because they were at Natalie's funeral. Natalie was dead? Her husband explained she'd been acting off for weeks, rambling and paranoid. She thought everyone was lying to her, couldn't tell what was real, and was mentally broken. So she took her own life. Maria was starting to feel the same way. She asked if Natalie had met a friend named Verity Green before she died, but Natalie's husband, stressed about their kids, hung up without answering. The next day, things got wild. Everyone had gone to the meeting, and that's when Verity chugged the whole carton of almond milk. At lunch, that girl started a scene again. All eyes went to Maria. She'd been acting weird lately. She blamed Verity, but when they checked the footage, Maria was wrong, again. Then Maria noticed Verity muttering into her pendant, and in a blink, everything changed. With all this drama, Maria was losing everyone's respect and getting isolated, just like she'd done to Verity years ago. It got so bad she was on the verge of getting fired. Desperate, Maria followed Verity to her house, which looked like a freaking mansion. She broke a window to sneak in and saw servers everywhere. While Verity was in the shower, Maria found the pendant but got caught. Now she had it and thought Verity was powerless without it. Wrong. It was just a remote linked to Verity's quantum computer, activated only by her fingerprints. She had dozens of them and could do whatever she wanted. There were countless timelines, and Verity picked the ones where only Maria saw the truth. With 10 seconds later, Verity gave a command, and Maria's t-shirt changed color. Next moment, Maria was speaking Chinese. Then they were back in the office. This discovery was straight up miraculous. Finally, Maria apologized for her mistake and said Verity could rule the world with this power, get anything she wanted. But Verity had already done that. Now she was just out for revenge for her humiliation, and she'd already kicked it off by killing Natalie. Maria was next. Suddenly, Maria lunged at Verity, knocking the pendant away. Verity grabbed it back and jumped to another timeline where cops were already there. She told them, "She's trying to kill me." The cops arrested Maria. In a flash, Maria snatched a cop's gun and shot Verity dead. Now with the quantum computer, Maria could do anything. One command, and the cops became her slaves. "I'm the queen of the whole damn world," she shouted, then jumped to a timeline where she was literally royalty.